tell us what this moment means, because I know you're all about excellence. You're just that person who just does it big whenever you're out there. But what does this moment mean to be back? You're in the Final Four and you're competing, but you're also part of history.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. What this moment means is representation matters. Um,
Yeah.
and a lot of people take offense to when I say that, being a part of history in this way, and having two Black women at the biggest stage of
Mm-hmm.
college women's basketball is truly special, because for as many years that women's basketball has been in existence, you've only seen maybe one Black coach, here or there,
Mm-hmm.
represented on this stage. When it's two of us, it means that when you give Black women an opportunity, Black women, Black men, an opportunity to head
Mm-hmm.
programs, this is what can take place. Um, and it also can be representative of, you know, corporate America. When you give Black
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
people an opportunity
Yep.
to lead programs, corporations, this is what we do with opportunities. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
extremely happy that I'm not the only one. I'm super happy for Adia in her program, because we played it at the highest level in the WNBA. Now we're coaching at the highest level. That means that little girls that are growing up, they know that they
Mm-hmm.
can play for a Black coach, in the biggest stage. They can be a Black coach coaching one day at the biggest stage of college women's basketball, where so many of us are representing, um, in the game as players, and in the game
Mm-hmm.
as assistant coaches, and in the game as everything besides being the head coach. So that is
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
what matters at this point. Win, lose, or draw, we created history, we created opportunity, we created a visual of what can happen when you give Black people opportunities.
And opportunities that you well deserved on, like you said, well represented on the basketball court. We need to see more
Mm-hmm.
representation on the sidelines, directing these players out there. I know you got to get past your semifinal games, but the both of you. But what would it mean to actually play one another in the finals? And the winner of that game obviously would be just the third head coach. Well, actually the second if you win again. To win a championship, a Black woman's head coach to win a championship on the NCAA level. What would that mean when it comes to those opportunities being a little bit more out there for women like yourself?
Um, Great question. Here what it would mean. If you look at what the experts are saying, we're both underdogs. We're both in a position where no one really thinks, the masses don't really think that we can win our semifinals games. Um, so what it would mean is a rewriting of the narrative. The narrative is
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, let's have a Stanford, Connecticut final." Um, and if we upset Stanford and UConn, the storyline will be much more than a
Mm-hmm.
basketball game, and that is what
Mm-hmm.
that's what we need. It's different. It's welcoming. It is. It would be beautiful, and I say this without tearing people down. Like, I'm not tearing down other white coaches who have given to this game, who are very passionate about this
Mm-hmm.
game, but history hasn't been on the side of Black coaches.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're in a position to change history. We're in a position to change the narrative. We're in a position to to showcase our talents. And we're in a position to be a beacon of hope for other Black coaches out there who want to head programs. They want to be head coaches. They want an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. And if we can be that this year in 2021, with all the things that we've had to endure,
Yeah.
um, on social media, in our communities, in what people think
Mm-hmm.
of us, it would be tremendous. So I'm gonna continue to get on my knees and pray that this happens for us and it happens for Black people without stepping
Yeah.
on other people. It's just we've seen that before. Look, the Final Four has been um, so has showcased it a lot of white coaches, and they don't have to think about them being white. We have to think about us being Black because we haven't seen that. And when it's readily available to us right now and to young Black bodies, that's a beautiful thing. Why not?
We need to
Why
see
It is
not?
that.
Why
beautiful.
not
It
have
is beautiful.
an inclusive championship?
Yeah.
Amen.
So sure, you're not trying to tear Gino down or anybody else like you said, but I love how you're so unapologetic in your pro-Black stance for excellence in this game. I saw where you were cutting down the nets in one of the photos that we showed. You had on that T-shirt, I believe it was Coach Thompson, honoring him. And yesterday we had on the former Browns coach, Hugh Jackson, and he talked about how even when the opportunity comes, you don't always get everything, the support, the autonomy as the head coach. And I wonder about the road getting there for you because you were such a celebrated player. Did at least the opportunity come with some ease? And then once you got in, were you allowed to have the program you knew you needed to succeed?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think I come with a little bit more than most coaches. Like I played the game at the very highest level,
Yeah.
so I got some credentials behind my name. So I don't think I've had any, and I mean I've had the support that I've needed to be successful. But if I didn't, I'm an in spite of type of player, coach, person. In spite of, I'm going to succeed. Whether you support me, I'm going to succeed because I'm going to figure out a way, and that is what make Black people different. In that we're colorful now. We can make $1 out of 15 cents if we have to, because we are built that
Right.
way. Because we don't get the
Resourceful.
opportunity. So
Yeah.
once
Just
we're
gonna do what
there,
we do.
we're gonna make it happen legally, professionally, because we have to do it that way. We have to stand on shoulders of, yes, John Thompson, who kicked down doors for me to sit where I sit. He fought for the
Coach Cheney.
voiceless. He fought for, yeah,
Coach
Coach
Change.
Cheney.
Yep.
Oh, that's my heart now. Coach Cheney
That's
is my
oh
heart.
Yep.
man.
He is the
Yeah.
he is
Yeah. We just
the
lost
coach.
him.
The, yes, the male coach that when I first got into coaching, he was the one that raised me, that mentored me, that allowed me to grow and learn from him, to ask questions. So I know that I didn't reach where I am alone, and I always pay homage to the people who helped get us here. Coach Cheney's one of them. Coach Thompson's one of them. Um, Carolyn Peck, who was the first Black coach to win a national title. Um, I hope, I hope there's a D and I are in the finals where we know one of us is going to win. And I promise you, if
Yeah.
it's her, I will be super happy for her, because
Wow. Yeah.
that's another Black coach giving
And we know you'll
other
be
Black
genuine happy.
coaches. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Either
Well,
way,
we know
I
that.
would be
We
happy because um, the narrative would be written totally different. You're gonna have to talk about this. Like you're not just gonna say, "Oh, it's
yeah.
two coaches." And I know people, want it just to be, you know, great coaches. No, I mean, no, because it's always been great coaches when they didn't have to think about the race, because that's the norm. We want
Hey
this to
Don,
be the norm.
Coach Staley, we're running out of time, but I wanted to get this in beforehand because it's a great ending to the Final Four, especially if you guys are in the championship game. But at the beginning of the women's championship, there was all the inequities when it came to the women's game compared to the men. Mark Emmert just came out with a statement yesterday. He's the president of NCAA, obviously, and he said we let them down, but he added, it's up to your community to pick up and run with it. Meaning you guys. What do you think he meant by that?
I mean, he means that we're not going to let anybody off the hook. So much like we have these social injustices that are happening out in our communities, we're not letting up. We're going to continue to protest. We're going to continue to shed light on things we know need to be fixed. And we're going to make people uncomfortable in doing it and bringing it to light. So I think Mark is feeling the heat a little bit you know, for the dark cloud that was on our championship a few weeks ago. Um, I was just on a Zoom call with him and a couple of other coaches, just expressing how we feel and how we move forward and how we don't have this again. And I'm looking forward to the investigation that is going to take place into why things were so different in one championship from the other.
Good luck in the Final Four before we let you go. Because, look, Dawn, I love your game. Can I just fan out for a second? I watched you since Virginia, followed your career at Temple, now South Carolina. When you won the championship in 2017, I was ecstatic. I'll be ecstatic for you or Adia if you win it again this year. But I got to ask you this question because you had game and you still look like you can ball. So out of your players right now that is on your team, how many of the players on your team right now do you feel like if it came down to it, you can beat one-on-one?
Oh, here we go. Here it is.
I mean, I could beat all of them one-on-one if I start with the ball.
Okay, well, right. That's
what I'm
that
talking
caveat.
about. That's that swagger.
There it is.
That's that swagger.